Okay, we're doing a new show. Southern Charm, Season 6, Episode 1, RSVPeeved. I watched this show. I watched Season 1 and 2 kind of religiously. I think 3. I must have missed 4 and 5. I keep saying, I can't remember why I missed all these episodes. Then I remembered. The 2.5-year-old downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
2.5 years. Gone. No TV. No nothing. First time watching Southern Charmed.
As the Countess said, money can't buy you class, and it didn't buy her class. It didn't buy most of these people class.
I think John's a little more excited about this show than he wants to admit because...
I'd be friends with them just to eat their food, because
Yeah.
that looked pretty good.
Yeah, no, like, Catherine being friends with Patricia is the perfect move because Patricia's fun and has great food and a great house. Anyway, I'm going to admit something. I can tell Catherine apart and Cameron, because I've known her forever. All the rest are blonde blur. Like, I'm going to need name tags, I'm going to need a distinctive stripe of hair, something, because I can't tell them apart.
Who's the polo player?
That was Eliza.
I couldn't tell if she was saying she was 22 years old, or if that was her IQ.
I know.
Pretty sure the latter.
Well, and then the problem is that they look so different in each, like we saw the preview, and they like show, I guess it was her walking up like a villain. They finally showed her face, and I was like, I don't know who that is.
Right?
I had just seen her 3 seconds earlier in the episode. Didn't know who she was. I was like, oh, is this going to be Ashley? Well, I also don't know. So, right before this season, I think the way the timing worked is that they started filming this season before they did the reunion, because I don't think Thomas was at the reunion. And here's the deal. I don't have an ego on this, so if you hit us up in the comments and you're like, no, you got it all wrong, doesn't bother me. Go ahead. Tell me I was wrong. Correct me. Doesn't bother me. Disagree with me. Fine. Tell me why. I don't care. It's just reality TV. We're supposed to have fun. So, so Patricia talks about how Thomas, so now she's friends with Catherine, and her attitude is, well, first of all, Catherine has grown a lot. Catherine was like 5 when she started the show. No, she wasn't. She was 18 because she was sleeping with Thomas and got pregnant. But she was like super crazy young. So the aging that she's done is a ton versus almost everybody else in the show who's closer to our age.
So Thomas was a drug addict, treasurer, rapist. Did I get that
That seems
right?
to be the order.
Okay.
So Patricia's like, well, he's character assassination. And they showed some Twitter of him saying that Patricia blocked him. I'm like, that's not character assassination. You should be proud of that. So I guess what happened is, stuff shouldn't happen off camera because I get all confused. But he was...
And they should have name tags on camera.
Yeah, they have, Thomas was accused of, if I remember correctly, assault from his nanny and rape from a woman that he met online. I might be getting that wrong. But regardless, we know that there is, I think what happened was a sexual assault or a rape came out, and then slightly later, the woman that he was with, the daughter, was like, Mom, you have to go report this. And so she reported it a little bit later, but she had, I think, gotten treatment for it, which you can do. You can get treatment even if you don't want to report the rape. You can get treatment, you can get a rape test taken, and then you can go back and you can say, at a later point, okay, now I'm ready to report the rape, because a lot of people are really pretty upset. So we see Danny and Catherine, I think it was Danny. Anyway, talk about Thomas, we get kind of caught up, and Ashley. Ashley, I saw enough of Ashley to know that I have no interest in Ashley. Like, Ashley was dating Thomas, and she was lots of like, Catherine, you know, there's not a family, I'm going to do whatever I want with the kids, I'm going to, you know, and I think at this point Thomas had full custody. I don't think he does anymore.
So she was the redhead?
No. Oh, Catherine's a redhead.
Okay.
Ashley, I don't think we even saw this episode, but she was with, no
wonder
I know,
confused.
I mean, just
anyway.
get a big long list of white women's names and throw them at this show, and there you go. So Cameron and Craig talk. Craig was apparently in the Bahamas for 3 months. He's like, oh, you should do it. And you're like, that is like the most typical rich person thing. Like, oh, I spent a month in Switzerland. You should do that. And you're like,
Trust me, buddy. You want to take me, I'll go.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll go and we can learn transcendental meditation or whatever else is going on. So, we see Naomi, this is where I'm like really rough. Naomi guest dated Craig, but now she's dating an anesthesiologist, and good job, girl. Way to step up. It sounds like he's a good influence on her. Although I don't necessarily, I'm not a big fan.
You don't like
not
flan?
A big fan.
She's not a big fan of flan.
Of dating as a form of like rehabilitation, where you're like, oh, I'm a hot mess, but now I'm dating someone, because it just feels like that's not a real authentic way of making changes. Like I feel like she's like a
But we know who we do
neck.
feel is on a solid foundation.
Who?
The girl
Austin,
who's still dating the guy.
Austin and Madison.
Threesome without her.
And I saw that video. I kind of don't know how I saw the video on Instagram. It doesn't show any details, but yeah, he's yelling at her that she's crazy. First of all,
way to have some self-respect.
Just a whole big mess. And then Shep's like, well, what he did was wrong, but what she did by cheating afterwards was wronger. And it's like, let me just roll my eyes again, Shep, because they're both dogs, if that's what's happening. And we didn't actually get any confirmation that she did. We just know that he did. Craig's on a date with Caroline. So this is where, we all go to Patricia's house for a dinner party.
We don't.
Oh man, I wish I did. Oh.
Anyway.
I would bring her like a lovely
Nobody
blanket or wine or something.
Back to reality.
So all of a sudden everybody starts coming in with all these women, and I'm like, what is happening? Am I supposed to know the name of all these women? Why are they all blonde and the same height and the same figure? Like, get us a curvy girl in there so I can at least tell some of them apart. Like, anything. Anything. Do all have to be white? Why is it so white there? Anyway. Shep comes to Liza, which that was like a production where they're like, hey Shep, you should bring this girl who's good friends with Thomas. And this is, let me sum up my first impression of Eliza. Oh yes, I've been friends with Thomas forever. And sure, maybe he's a rapist, but who am I to judge? I mean, it was like, maybe you should judge a little bit. Like, maybe you should have some concern. Like, it was just sort of this, like, oh, who hasn't raped a few and pillaged a few villages? I mean, it was just very blasé. And then she's like, Catherine, let me talk about your children. Even though this supposed to be... And she just was like, dig, dig, dig. And then she's like, I don't understand why she doesn't want to talk to me.
I don't understand what the problem is. I just set fire to their barn with the hay in it.
Right. I mean, it was just one of those things.
Why would you be upset?
Then she's like talking to Austin, and Austin looks like literally he's drowning. Not like metaphorically, but like literally he's like...
Who's that?
That was the guy that cheated on his girlfriend with 2 other women. But she was like talking to him about polo. And he was... I mean, if she... I don't quite understand what set him off, because he was so freaked out that if you had replaced the word polo with vagina, he would have had the correct response. So I was playing with my vagina today. Like, that's the level of, like, freaked out he had. I guess maybe
she was in the threesome.
I mean, I think it's just he knew, like, this was weird. She shouldn't be talking about polo. I'm not a fan. I have this in my personal life with someone who's like, well, I should be able to talk about whatever I want, and if it makes everyone else uncomfortable, so be it. And you're like, well, that's also called kind of rude and, anyway. So Eliza just keeps talking about polo, and Austin looks like he's drowning. Why does she keep bringing up T-Rav? I have a note, Patricia is lovely, and I know she can be a little bit of a snake in the grass, but I'm sorry. She's earned it. Okay. She keeps talking about, Eliza keeps talking about Target's favorite. Well, then they're like, she's like, I don't understand what Catherine's issue is with me. I just don't. And it's like 3 people are like, well, let me list
IQ of 22.
Let me list off 15 reasons. And she's like, well, I feel like you guys are just coming from a lot of different directions. And
they're all like, well, yeah, you asked.
Yeah, pretty much you asked, and we told you all of the ways.
You're crazy.
Well, I didn't bring up Thomas. Well, yeah, you did several times. Well, I just don't understand. I've never said anything bad about her, and they like show the clips of her saying that Catherine was drunk again, and it's like, I can't. If you can't remember the things that you've said on camera, Anyway, so it looks like she's gonna be a big part of this season. So I look forward to hating her. And that's it. I'm actually been hyped up, John, to this show, because I think First of all, it's the one show that I watch that has men in it, which normally I prefer a female-centric cast, but the benefit is now John gets to hate people of his own gender. He gets to judge them in all of the ways that they're lacking.
I'm all for equality.
And judging rich people. Definitely. Okay, we'll see you soon.